pagbabalik po ang Republika, kausap pa rin natin si Ms. Grace po, tumatakbong senador po ng ating Pilipinas. Do we see in the horizon, or in the beginning, did the Liberal Party even invite you, or was that part of your thinking process?
No. Nagulat nga ako na inimbita ako ng Pangulo kasi yung MTRCB, bagamat na importanteng parte ng ating kultura at marami tayong pinapanood sa telebisyon, hindi ko naman naisip na ikukonsidera niya ako. Kaya, siyempre I was so grateful. No, I didn't think, to answer your question.
What if, of course this is theoretical now, what if the Liberal Party says, Grace, why don't you just join the Liberal Party? Pag-isipan mo muna.
Oh, there was an invitation naman, and I also believe in their mission, you know. But I was thinking it would have been too convenient kasi for me to swear into a party na. Just like 2 days before I filed, di ba? So parang sabi ko, never mind na anyway, better that I prove myself first. And then join a party after.
Once you're already an incumbent.
Yes.
So more or less, we can almost predict in this program that when you make it, you'll be a Liberal Party.
Oh, no, not necessarily, because
or independent ka.
Or an independent, kasi parang as an independent, you make certain stands. But let me tell you, I believe in what, more or less what they're trying to advocate now. Clean, good governance, transparency. And all of this, I think the Liberal Party, particularly the President, is doing a good job.
If you get elected senator, and then, of course, whoever will be the Senate President by that time, kasi iba na siguro yung mix, we don't know how the voting will be, tatanungin sa'yo, which committee would you wish, or would you want? Option 1, option 2, option 3?
Well, kung pinagpala tayo, mabibigyan ng pagkakataon, ang ako gusto ko talaga, agriculture and education.
What would be your third option? Women?
Well, yes, no? It could be for women, but nakatuwa ako sa dalawang yun. Culture is part of the education thing, but I would also like to help like indie filmmakers and the arts. But those two, kasi you feed the mind to education, and you feed the body, agriculture. And I think those are very basic things.
And then it also follows that obviously you were in the MTRCB. You're going to work for, may makakulang pa sa MTRCB, I'm sure. Siguro naiisip mo na, nakikita mo na kung anong mga gusto mong idagdag sa MTRCB.
One thing is gusto ko talagang taasan ang budget nila eh. Diba? Napakaliit, tapos they have to monitor so much.
Legislation in terms of MTRCB.
Legislation, I really think that, kasi PD 1986, the one that empowered the MTRCB, says it transitioned towards self-regulation. So dapat, bigyan na ng taning, for me na let's say 15 years, within 15 years, the MTRCB has to be able to up the awareness of the public with regards to self-regulation and classification. And by the time 15 years come, there should be an assessment. Kailangan pa ba ng MTRCB o kaya na ng mga network? Mga ganon.
The materials you submitted, you're talking here about Contra Daya. You're a co-convener. How does this work?
Contra Daya, we've had several members there that continue to fight for the truth. We had Bishop Oscar Cruz that joined us. We had Bibeth Ortesa. We also had Nato Reyes.
I think this is still relevant.
Jod Dizon.
I think this can be an ongoing concern.
Yeah, they're ongoing. But I'm not as active now because, of course, it might be a bit self-serving that I'm monitoring for myself, right? But their advocacy has stayed with me that we really need to be able to reform our system of voting and elections here in our country.
How are you? Your own view of our methodology of election, the computerized election, and you're comfortable? You have your own input about it?
I'm a little bit weary about it because I really think there are a lot of there's still glitches that can spell out the difference between really close fight. I think. Kasi they said out of about 1,000 votes, parang 4 are spurious or something. Something like that. So if you have like, every million, you have about 4,000 spurious votes. Something like that. No, out of 100, 4. So that's a lot.
That's a lot, yeah.
So another thing is, we're sort of blindly accepting what
Okay.
the COMELEC is giving us with the PCOS because
Okay.
as they said nga, it hasn't been recertified.
Oh
And
my.
then, of course, di ba?
Mhm.
So things like that. But the difference is kasi, I really believe that Chairman Brillantes really has the credibility compared to the past COMELEC chairman. So, if ever these are glitches that I'm sure personally and professionally he will try to rectify.
Are you going to be strong on electoral reform, therefore?
Yes.
If you, once elected as senator?
Yes, one thing I want is to study the possibility of having the COMELEC commissioners not appointed by the president.
Okay.
Because even if they go through the appointments committee,
Yes.
it's still who the president puts. So I mean,
Yes.
something like the JBC, I think within the community of
Okay.
different sectors representing the electorate, they should be able to recommend people, and it should be an open interview, so that the representatives can choose, and then from whomever they will choose, that person should be COMELEC chairman, so they don't have absolute, or they won't feel like they need to owe any administration.
Senator Alan Peter Cayetano came out recently with a statement about certain COMELEC officials talking about the possibility of the PICOs, about I think I don't need to go into the details. People read the press release. Your thoughts about it?
It's scary because first of all, right now na ginagamit natin yung cellphone natin, ang dami na nating drop calls.
Yes.
'Di ba? Kasi it's campaign period na eh. Marami na nagkakampanya, napupuno na.
Okay.
'Di ba? Yung mga linya. What more? Think about it. When the precincts, all 76,000 of them, or 74, closes at 5. Then they canvass. After an hour, they transmit. Sabay-sabay yan. Tapos meron pang mga kawatan na mag-jammer, may ganito, ganyan. So obviously, meron hindi makakarating yung data, di ba? So the CF card, as they call it, or the memory card, will have to be physically transported.
Okay.
Diba? In that time, the COMELEC has to be able to find somebody, di ba? Who will make bantay.
Yes.
And then also right there, they should make sure that, I guess, the protection of the people who will transport those cards, because that's the lifeblood. Plus the actual PCOS machine, because all of the papers that you're fed are in there.
Just in case you were senator when all these events were happening, just so that people will get a glean of how you would have voted. The Corona impeachment. How would you have decided that as a senator?
The most incriminating thing kasi about him, he had a good legal team.
Yes.
And if you're there, you really have to look at what can be proven,
Yes.
Diba? But then, he admitted
He provided
he
the evidence.
himself kasi admitted. So, if you're a senator, you'll really be pushed against the wall because he himself admitted. And the fact that he did, those are already the grounds why he should have been impeached. And diba the moral authority was lost?
Yes,
And
yes.
that's symbolic. The Supreme Court is symbolic. So the minute that you're already tainted, you should actually have the initiative and the delicadeza to step down yourself. That's my feeling.
Congressman Erin Tañado has been pushing for the FOI,
Yes.
the Freedom of Information. Of course, it's now been mothballed.
For the next.
For the next, hopefully it will be revived. If you're a senator, your thoughts?
I agree with it. I think we should have an FOI bill. It's in our Bill of Rights that we have the right to information, but there are no enabling laws. So we need that so that we can have an informed electorate to make wise decisions, because if information is not available to them, how will they know what's going on too? I don't think that in the FOI bill there should be a right to reply bill.
Okay.
I mean, right to reply clause or provision, because it's almost like dictating how media should conduct
It's affairs.
it's
Business,
reporting. And what's stopping them later on from encroaching on what they should not report? Kasi you should report this, therefore, what you should not report is this, so you're opening a Pandora's here. So those are my thoughts on the FOI.
And I think it's now, I don't know if I'm correct or wrong, but I think Chairman Brillantes says there is a right to reply. I think enforced now. I don't know, but
For the
campaign,
yeah,
for the campaign.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know.
And it's going to be a problem for media people how this will be. The details is in the devil is in the details, though. How about the RH bill?
With the current version it has now, number one,
Okay.
no abortion. Number 2, no mention of population control. Number 3, opt out for parents when it comes to reproductive health education. They can choose not to have their child attend. Number 4, developmental approach to introducing reproductive health education. And number 5, giving salaries and funding to barangay health workers. I agree with it.
Okay, so you would
I
have,
would have voted
okay,
with it because
okay.
everything is there.
Okay. Napapanahon, divorce bill, divorce law.
We should discuss it, but I don't think that we should have a divorce bill right now. We should strengthen what we have, which is the annulment, legal separation, and nullity of marriage, so that it will be affordable for even the indigent cases.
How about rights for homosexuals, for lesbians, for LGBT yata yun?
Yeah, I support the LGBTQ's position on discrimination on the SOGI, which is sexual orientation and gender identity. So you should not be discriminated based on that. But for same-sex marriage, I'm not for that yet. I'm for legal protection for same-sex partners when it comes to support and when it comes to properties. Because some of them, like in showbiz, I've seen it kasi.
Yeah, how does it work? Sige.
Diba? Maraming showbiz, very talented gay couples that have been together for so long.
For the
So
longest
mamamatay yung isa. Pero sila naman yung partners. Biglang wala nang matitira sa, kasi hindi naman siya yung legal heir. Diba?
Correct.
Siya, no? So kung hindi naasikaso, dapat meron ganun mga provisions.
And there are also these kinds of couples that end up adopting.
Oo, children, diba?
How do you, anong determination sa mga ganong klaseng?
Kasi ako, of course, a perfect family is always the institutions that we have. A man and a woman, and then a child. But then, what's important is we change the life of a person for the better. We could be a single parent. We could be a gay couple. As long as we pass certain psychological tests and certain standards of financial capabilities, we should be able to adopt a child. Kasi that's better. You know, just this morning, I heard the news that there was this baby that was found in a trash can.
Yes.
Diba? With the umbilical cord.
Yes.
With a cloth stuffed in the mouth of the child. Diba? If adoption is less stigmatized, if we are open to adoption, there are so many couples, not even couples, but there are so many single men and women
Who would like to?
who would like to help and adopt.
Wedding.
Okay, I'm not for legalization of the wedding, but here's the thing. Parang you don't allow weddings, a form of gambling, but you allow casinos. I mean, you know, it's kind of weird eh. So, I don't know, based on equity alone, parang if you're poor, you have no right to gamble, di ba? But if you're rich, you can go to a casino. So, my position really is, so hard kasi to keep track. The problem kasi with wedding, they said it's being manipulated so that winners are actually fixed, di ba?
Yes.
So maybe that element of manipulation obviously is not allowed under the law.
Your father was very strong on movies for the police, for the military. Grace Poe.
What's my position?
Yeah, AFP, the police, insurgency in general.
Of course, for us to have progress, we should have peace, di ba? For us to have real peace, we should be able to provide the basic social protections for our family. How can we expect them to have the concern to protect us if they themselves can protect their families from hunger, from having can't provide the proper shelter or education for their children? So I think key really is to be able to have a decent standard of living for them, to increase their salary, to give them non-GAA support, like maybe insurance or housing loans, which the President's doing naman right now.
Yes, China.
Okay, the big incentive for any country is really its economic gain. And of course, that's a factor for China, that's a factor for the US, everyone. In China kasi, I don't think naman they will wage war, but of course, they don't want to lose face.
Correct.
In my case, I think we need to continue arbitration to the UN because that's really ours within the 12 nautical miles UNCLOS agreement, right? So, But we should always try to partner up with China economically because that's the best way. It was mentioned nga na they're proposing, or companies proposing, joint exploration.
Yes.
Ako kasi I'm for it because if it's a 50-50 thing and we're not abdicating our right to ownership,
Yes.
why don't we ask for the capital to be able to explore? And another thing, sir, is we're allowing these mining companies to give us 2% in excise tax. Why can't we allow a 50-50% revenue on a joint exploration?
Very good point. United States.
Well, culturally, we've always had a soft spot for Americans. The majority of our 1-point-something Filipinos abroad, or no, we're talking about OFWs. The majority of Filipinos abroad are in the U.S. I mean, with families already.
Yes.
We shouldn't really depend on them.
Okay.
We shouldn't allow them to manipulate us. But we can always have a good working relation. But we should always think of what's good for us. Like, for example, the U.S., they're super for the MOA ad. Remember? The Memorandum of Agreement. During the time, the ambassador of the U.S. was already in Malaysia.
All the way there, yes.
Diba? Until it was declared unconstitutional. So obviously, at that point, it would have been good for their interests. And we can't blame them for pushing it.
Yes, of course.
But for us, that was encroaching on our sovereignty.
Correct.
It's unconstitutional. So in instances like that, we just have to think of ourselves first.
How do you balance the interest of the U.S., China, vis-a-vis the Philippines?
Let's think of ourselves. What's best for us? How do we balance it? Let's not be like a crybaby. Like every time China bullies us, will come out with a statement telling the U.S. Or whatever. We're not naman. No? Pero parang that's how it seems like the U.S. will defend us.
What do you think is the interest of the U.S. in the MOA AD? Your own random thoughts. Why were they so gung-ho about the MOA AD?
I'm sure you know the answer, but there's a hierarchy.
Yeah.
If you have the Philippine national government there, plus you'll go down to the local government, plus you'll go down to the MNLF, MILF, Abu Sayyaf, I don't know, whatever. Diba it's easier na lang, it's cheaper, it's less conflict.
Cumbersome.
Cumbersome, to just go directly to the leaders here, diba? So that's why they want those leaders there to be able to enter into a treaty.
Yes.
Diba? That is the point. So, and it's easier to deal with them, I suppose, than dealing with the national government.
For purposes of natural resources?
Security,
natural resources?
Mindanao is so rich, diba? That's where we still have large tracts of land that are, subdivided, but they're still planting homogeneous crops. You have the ports. You have rich natural resources in the ocean. So, it's like owning another country.
Okay. Here's now my question. You'll be starting campaign very soon. I'm sure you have in your mind already how the campaign will go, and you have this all scheduled. You have a speech prepared.
Yeah.
5 minutes, 10-minute speech.
Ako kasi I don't want to bore people. No matter how good your speech is, you're in a sortie, nobody really will listen intently. So it's just a clear and simple message that I would like to help uplift the lives of our countrymen, that our growth in the country will be inclusive, that I believe the key to a better life is to have the proper education for our children, that our children should be fed well. I believe that corruption is the main reason why we are now recovering. So anti-corruption practices, rather.
Is this your social covenant that we're talking about? The same social covenant of your father, and you're going to be carrying it? Yeah?
More or less. That's why, after mentioning all of those things briefly, very briefly, I say, tutulungan ba ninyo ako na isa katuparan ang naging pangarap ni FPJ para sa inyo. So it's also trying to get the interaction of the audience na parang pagkakatiwalaan ba ninyo ako na ipagpatuloy ang mga plinano ni FPJ? Just to remind them. So, I don't know, Eric, because first of all, my dad is a guy, and then I'm a girl, and I'm like totally, I don't know if people will be able to...
It's a girl's world, my goodness. It's a girl's world.
I don't know. But the conversion is
You were, what was your rating before? You started like...
20.
Yeah, but look at where you are now.
Well, supposedly, diba?
And like, how many more months do you... I mean, the others are not moving.
Well, yes, sir. But the thing is kasi, this is one of the hardest senatorial races. Even Senator Cheese mentioned it.
Because
Within the 10, 11, 12,
it's already
13,
packed up already, no? Sa
yeah,
taas.
you have coming back senators like Gordon,
Yeah.
so popular. And then you also have
Are we saying
Jambi.
are we only fighting for 2 or 3 or 4 slots na lang? Ganon ang nangyari
Parang
sa baba?
ganon. Actually, 2.
Aha.
Parang ganon na nga eh. And then, palagi nagpapalit. And then you have the name recall of Aquino, who's very strong. Di ba?
I think you're higher than Bam.
Well, no. In one survey, I am. In another survey, he is. So, it depends. And, you know, it's...
I think maybe your survey is more...
No, I don't know. But, of course, you're very sympathetic to our causes. But, yeah.
So, you're what? Number 11 now? 12?
Tied for 10 and 11 with Trillanes. But a new Pulse Asia came
Survey.
out.
Yeah.
This one kasi, this is weird. SWS survey, 17 to 19, I'm number 10 and 11, tied with Trillanes. And then, Pulse Asia came out January 19 to 20. 19 to 20 naman to Yung isa 17 to 19, ito 19 to 20. I'm number 13.
Okay.
So I don't know. And then, so I really don't know. It's very, as I mentioned, precarious at this point.
Well, wouldn't it be, I think, I don't know whether it could be part of your message, pero your election as senator is part of the justice that should be given to your family.
Yes, but Eric, maybe...
It's not only a justice that should be given to you, but the justice that, you know, people were deprived of because they voted for your father.
Yes.
It's part of the writing of history, so if I might say that.
Yeah, but I don't want to have that feeling of entitlement Kasi we don't know how people think
In
now.
this case, it is the voters that is asking for entitlement because they want you
to continue.
Precisely.
Well, I hope they see it the way you do. But
maybe you can frame it in a sense that I'm trying to reframe it for you, but you can state it in a different way.
Maybe we should talk more often so you can teach me what to do.
Hindi naman.
Yeah. But
diba?
Anyway, but really, my admiration to you because I've had many different interviews also, but I've seen your genuine concern to be able to ask me all these questions, not just for sensationalism.
Final words.
Para sa ating mga kababayan, ako po isang bagong kandidato pa lamang, pero yung aking intensyon naman po ay para matulungan ang ating mga kapuspalad na kababayan na ginawa rin ng tatay ko kahit hindi naman po siya pinagpalad na maupo bilang Pangulo. Sana po tulungan niyo ako. Salamat po sa inyo na hindi pa nakakalimot sa kanya.
Okay, thank you very much. Nadinig po natin si Ms. Grace Poe. Anak po siya ni Fernando Poe Jr. And I'd like to be very presumptuous and say I think he was the true president that was elected in 2004. It's just a question of not only rewriting but writing our history. I think this should be part of the Matuwid na Daan, which I think this administration should undertake because graft and corruption is not only financial but also it should also have a correction in history. Ito po si Erik Espina, palagi po nagsasabi sa inyo, magmasid, makialam, higit sa lahat ay manindigan dahil wala pong magmamahal sa Pilipino kung hindi ang Pilipino. Daghang salamat, maayong gabi kaninyong tanan.